Warning, the following audio transmission will forever change your outlook on society. You will no longer believe the narrative. You are about to wake up and see things for what they really are. News, facts, and opinions. This is the Doom Daily Show.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Doom Daily Show. I am your host, Jester Dooms, the website, www.jestersvoice.com, everywhere on social media, at Jester Dooms, the email, doomdailyshow@gmail.com. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the show. Give me that 1 week IRL, that 1 week in real life interaction where you tell a friend, family member, or coworker about the Doom Daily Show. All right. Good morning. I hope everybody's having a lovely Tuesday, February 24th, 2026. I know I am. I am sitting here with my lovely, smooth rise mushroom coffee. Man, I should really be sponsored by these guys. Yeah. Anyway, let's see. So we had to do a rerun yesterday. I got extremely tied up and was unable to record. I've got 1,000 irons in the fire, and yesterday turned out to be a very good day because we finally got our foundation walls back poured with concrete. Okay. And I'm ready to choke a motherfucker. So it's done. The wall's done. And this is fantastic for me because this means that I am now not at bay to anybody. Okay. I am good to go to finish my foundations, waterproofing, drainage, and start backfilling with concrete or with dirt because the concrete's done. It's over. It's in. Don't have anything else to worry about. So I can start the secondary process I need to start, which is the backfilling. It's very, very exciting for me. I am super stoked. I can't wait to get this going. All right. It just feels like there's a big weight lifted now because I don't have anybody else in my way preventing progress. Okay. But I'm extremely frustrated. The concrete company that came out, I think, shorted us on concrete, like real bad on concrete. And we tried to tell them like, hey, there was a mistake made somewhere. And instead of like trying to find the mistake or owning up to the mistake or doing anything to rectify the situation, it was pretty much, no, you're wrong. Okay. Now I'll tell you what happened. The total circumference of this house foundation, I mean, off the top of my head, it's 80 plus 28 would be 108 plus 14 would be 132. Does that sound right? 132. We'll just math it real quick just for argument's sake here. So you guys can understand why I'm frustrated. Sorry, 122, not 132, 122. Okay, 122 feet circumference. Now, the wall is the same depth all the way around, okay, that we're backfilling with concrete. The only difference in any walls, okay, is there's one wall that has a window and two doors. So obviously the window and the two doors are not getting backfilled. So you're going to have slightly less, but not enough to matter, okay? Not enough to matter. Now, the first round of concrete, okay, covered 32, I'm sorry, hold on, let's go back here. Covered 32 feet of wall. Covered 32 feet with 8 yards of concrete in this truck. Now, I understand you're going to lose a little bit in the pump. You're going to lose a little bit filling the line of the pumper truck. Maybe you're losing a yard, maybe. But you're not losing that much. So, the first truck ordered with 8 yards got us 32 feet. Okay, you with me so far? 32 feet. All right, now, the second truck got us 90 feet with 1 extra yard at 9 yards in the truck. Now, you tell me how it makes sense that this second truck did 3 times as much as the first truck with 1 extra fucking yard. Not to mention, we were filling overhead beams. But they're not, they're not deep. It's really hard to put those into perspective of, what the beams would equate to yardage wise, right? I mean, I'm sure there's a math equation that you could do. So, but 3 times the amount with 1 extra yard in the truck, something's drastically fucking wrong. And it's like there's multiple people on site that are, my wife's calling. I'm in the background, like, hey, something's not right here. Then the concrete guy that's doing, or the block guy that's doing our work calls. He says, hey man, you screwed these customers. Like something's wrong here. Y'all need to make this right. And it's just nope. Yeah, we weigh the trucks. We know what we're doing. You guys are wrong. And it's like, we're not talking we got a couple extra feet out of a truck here. We're talking 90 more feet, 3 times the amount. The first truck had to be fucking short or the second truck was overfilled. It's not computing. Something's not fucking right. So I don't know if this is a scam that they're running. Like, think about this. You pre-order concrete. You know how much you're going to need about. They send out a truck at short. You're like, shit, I guess we're going to need a few more trucks. And you put in the orders for them. They can't send them back once they're on the road. You have to pay for them. So to me, that's what seems like what's going on. It seems like there's a scam here. Okay, but I don't know. So that was my frustration of Monday, my frustration. But the wall is done. Anyway, we'll be right back after these messages.
Can't get enough of Jester Dooms? Check out his other show, It's Doomsday Podcast, available on all podcast platforms. That's It's Doomsday Podcast.
Back to the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Doom Daily Show. I am your host, Jester Dooms. The email, doomdailyshow@gmail.com. The website, go there, leave us an audio message at the top of the screen. Jestersvoice.com is where you can find that button. Everywhere on social media at Jester Dooms. All right, we're going to have the rest of the episode is probably going to get sucked up by this article and my thoughts on it. So, on the Epic Times by Navian Athropali. Navian Athropali, I think is how you pronounce this writer's name. Okay. Trump orders release of government files on aliens and UFOs. President Donald Trump has ordered government agencies to release information about extraterrestrial life and related phenomena in a late February 19th Truth Social post. In quotations, based on the tremendous interest shown, I will be directing the Secretary of War and other relevant departments and agencies to begin the process of identifying and releasing government files related to alien and extraterrestrial life, unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs, and unidentified flying objects, UFOs, and any and all other information connected to these highly complex but extremely interesting and important matters. God bless America, said Trump in the post. The post followed former President Barack Obama's comments on alien life in a podcast interview earlier this week. In the interview with podcaster Brian Tyler Cohen, Obama was asked whether aliens were real, to which he replied, "They're real, but I haven't seen them. And they're not being kept in Area 51. There's no underground facility unless there's this enormous conspiracy and they hid it from the President of the United States." So, Let's take a step back to the 90s. Anybody remember watching the movie Independence Day with Will Smith, Jeff Goldblum, Randy Quaid? You guys remember watching this movie and the president said, "Why was this hidden from me?" And I think the response was plausible deniability. I'm telling you guys right now, there's things that the president doesn't know. There's things that are in a deep state that he is not privy to. Okay? And if the president is kept in the dark about something and he doesn't even know it exists, how is he supposed to request that information? Now, leading up to this, we've been being groomed since a very young age that the idea of extraterrestrial life is out there. Think about all the fucking sci-fi movies, TV shows, comic books, everything that's out there. Okay? It's a thing. If aliens came to this planet tomorrow and started talking to humans, and it would create initial utter chaos, because there's basically 3 schools of thought here. You have the first thought, which is these creatures are here to do us harm. People are going to think that way. There's going to be utter pandemonium and chaos and buildings burning to the ground. It's going to be insane. Okay. Then you have the people that are into this. Like, oh, yeah, I don't care. It's fine. Like every alien thing I've seen is fine. I'm not worried about aliens. Aliens are cool. In fact, I kind of want to go to their planet. I can't wait to meet one. Like you'll have those kind of people, right? that are totally unbothered by it, that do not care, that do not give a rat's ass, or that, and might mildly be excited for it. And then you have the third kicker, this third individual, okay? Because this is why I truly feel that they've kept things buried for so long. As soon as you confirm extraterrestrial life and it steps onto this planet, it is going to destroy religions around the world. Now, the government doesn't like that because the government allows religions to operate because it's a very way to control and regulate the people and keep everybody from being nuts, right? Everybody wants to do right by each other and be a good person or whatever because God is watching, and whatever religion you follow has different rules and stipulations to where it makes you a better person. Because that's what religion pretty much is. It's hey, I have to be a good person because I have somebody to answer to. That's what it is. Okay. Now, I was raised Catholic as shit. Okay. And Sunday school, church choir, well, we didn't call it Sunday school. We called it CCD class, church choir, church every Sunday. Like every holiday I was there. Actively practiced Lent, like everything. Okay. We were very God-fearing in my household. Okay. And then I eventually came to the conclusion one day, God doesn't want you to live in fear of him. God wants you to live your life knowing he's in the background watching, so be on your best behavior, so to speak. Okay. Now, you're granted the gift of life one time on this planet, and I feel that any person, any being, God, higher power, whatever you want to look at it, if they put you on this planet and gave you this one life, could it be this very long test? Yes, it very well could be, but it's the gift of life. We say it all the time. It's the gift of life. It's a gift. When you get a gift for your birthday or Christmas or whatever, you want to play with that gift. You want to maybe take it apart, put it back together, see what its boundaries are, see what it can do, show your friends, take it outside, play with it, whatever the case may be. It's your gift to do with as you please. And when you get somebody a gift, you want them to enjoy it. Like if I get my kids a toy for Christmas, I want to see it put a smile on their face and make them happy. I don't want them to shelf it and be like, well, I'm never going to touch this just in case it breaks. Like, no. Like shit does happen, man. It's okay. But I want to see you smile and play with this. All right. So let's tear deeper into the article here. After the interview went viral, Obama said that he was trying to stick with the spirit of the speed round in an Instagram post, adding that the odds are good there's life out there, but chances we've been visited by aliens is low. Obama said he saw no evidence during his presidency that aliens made contact. I call bullshit. On February 19th, during a press gaggle on Air Force One, Trump asked about Obama's answer, and he responded that Obama was disclosing classified information. Whoa. He's not supposed to be doing that. The president added that he does not have an opinion on the existence of aliens, but noted a lot of people do. Before asking Fox News reporter Peter Doocy if he believed in it, well, if the president can declassify anything that he wants to, so if you want to make an announcement, Doocy said. Trump interrupted the reporter and replied, I may. Obama out of trouble by declassifying. I may get Obama out of trouble by declassifying. Now, the article continues, and you guys can go on to read this yourselves on the Epic Times, but there is some more we're going to tear into this right after the break. We'll be right back.
Hey, Producer Scooter here. First off, thank you for downloading and participating in the wide world of Jester Doom. Please be sure to check out JestersVoice.com website. Everything you want to know is located on JestersVoice.com. If you're looking for salacious details, it's on JestersVoice.com. Don't forget to share the show with your friends and even with all your enemies. And now, back to the musings of Jester Doom.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Doom Daily Show. I'm your host, Jester Dooms. The email, doomdailyshow@gmail.com. Everywhere on social media, @JesterDooms. Okay? All right, moving forward with this. If you guys may recall this, does anybody remember the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force? During Trump's first term, the U.S. government established the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena, UAP Task Force, UAPTF, UDPIF, something like that. According to an August 4th, 2020 statement from the Department of Defense, DoD, and the UAPTF was established to improve the department's understanding of the nature and origins of UAPs, while the mission was to detect, analyze, and catalog UAPs that could threaten national security. In quotations, the Department of Defense and the military departments take any incursions by unauthorized aircraft. Well, basically, what they're saying is, if we don't know what it is and it's up there, we have to investigate it, was basically what it is. But in 2021, if you guys recall, they released a bunch of documents. Okay. And in those documents, it said there are UFOs and UAPs that we have not identified and we don't know what they are. There was even people that came out and spoke out saying that we don't have technology that moves like this on this planet, or going at speeds in different directions that we can't maneuver in. Like, we have some of the most advanced aircraft on the planet, and these things are outmaneuvering us. Were claims that were made. All right, so it's beyond speculatory at this point. Okay, I don't believe that we're the only Goldilocks planet in the universe. In fact, my beliefs go out in total left field, in fact. And I'm going to bring you in to old Dooms' mind with my thoughts and opinions on the aliens. Okay. Now, I think that you kind of have to look at things in this perspective, and it's very hard for somebody like with your average IQ or your average train of thought or your average mindset to really get here. It's hard to get there. But I want you to first do this. Imagine the universe is endless. It never stops. It never hits a wall. It's the biggest possible room you could think of with no walls and nothing lies beyond it. It just keeps going. And it's a very hard concept to wrap your mind on. The universe has no end. It just keeps going. It has no end. It just keeps going. It does not stop. It goes forever. So now that you have that in your mind, now that you have that into your perspective, that there is just this endless universe out there that just goes on forever. It never stops. There's no end road. There's no block wall. There's no nothing. It just goes forever. Wrap your mind around, there's planets that we will never discover in our lifetimes. There's galaxies we will never see in our lifetimes. There are so many things out there. It is unreal. Statistically, it does not make sense we could be the only Goldilocks planet in existence. It makes no fucking sense. It is almost statistically impossible, because whenever we talk about space being endless, that also means endless worlds, endless life forms, endless possibilities, endless everything. Like, wherever you think the pinnacle is of something, go beyond that. Take your mind to this place with me. In your mind, you cannot think of a color that doesn't exist. You know all the colors. You know red, green, blue, purple, yellow, black, turquoise. You know all the colors, right? You know them all. And in your mind, you could not make a new color. You couldn't do that. It'd be very difficult. Now, if you had a bunch of palettes of colors, you could mix and play it, and you could make different shades of things. But the colors that we know that exist on this planet, that's it. There is no more. Okay? But the reality is that space has endless possibilities. So there are colors out there that have not been discovered. Think about that. Try to wrap your mind around that. I know it's a very hard thing to do. And if we ever saw one of these colors, the best thing we could do is describe it to something we have seen before. If you were trying to describe it to somebody, be like, yeah, it was this weird color, like between like a black, a yellow, and like purple. And I don't know. It was new. It was new. And that's what color the grass is on this other planet that I just discovered, right? So it's you have to get your mind to the point where you're not just figuring out what you know and figuring out what you understand. You're figuring out there are things you don't know and figuring out there's things that you don't understand, okay? So when you get to this point, endless space, endless worlds, endless colors, now you get to the point of potentially endless alien life forms. Potentially endless humanoid species, potentially endless technologies, potentially endless diseases, pets, vehicles, modes of transportation, histories, wars, weapons. It goes on forever. Now, I subscribe to a theory that most people do not. And as everybody listens to what I'm about to tell you, you're going to try to debunk everything in your head that I'm going to tell you. And at the end of it all, I'm going to tell you why you're so silly for trying to do that. So Dooms doesn't believe alien life. Well, Dooms doesn't believe human life originated on this planet. I believe we are, in fact, the aliens. And I talk about this every once in a while in my lives. And I was talking about it the other night because this article came up recently. And, I said, yeah, we're going to talk about that on the show. And I think I was on TikTok live and we started getting into this topic. We are not from this planet. It makes no logical sense that we're from this planet. We have not, if we originated on this planet, we would be vastly different. Vastly different. So let's go down the road of a couple things first. Okay. Number one, our feet and hands are not engineered for the terrain on this planet. That's number one. If we originated here, we would be like every other mammal on this planet. We'd have hoofed feet. We'd have extremely tough padded feet, potentially claws instead of toenails, potentially claws instead of fingernails. Okay. Every mammal you look at on this planet has adapted to the terrain. We have not. And adaptation takes a very long time. So that's number one. Number two, we suffer more back complications and problems than like any other creature does on this planet. It's insane how hard gravity is on us on a planet that we originated on and should be used to the gravity. And I tell people the best way to describe this is like when you look at different creatures on this planet, like look at them and think about age, right? Think about age. If you look at an elephant at the zoo, if it's a full-grown elephant, you can't tell if it's 10 years old, 20 years old, 30 years old. You cannot tell. Same goes with a deer you see walking around the woods, a squirrel, a dolphin. These creatures, they hit maturity and they look the same and to the point where they're very elderly. Now, human beings, it's drastically different, isn't it? So you can look at a human being and say, oh, that's a kid, that's a teenager. And then it's like, okay, this kid's an adult now. And you could look at somebody and tell the difference if they're in their 20s, their 30s, their 40s, their 50s, their 60s, their 70s, their 80s. You could tell. You can see that very clearly, but you can't see that with other mammals on this planet. Now, since we're getting into aging, let's get into birth for a second. The amount of birth complications we have on this planet make no sense at all. It doesn't make sense. Whenever you consider a lot of mammals on this planet do not need to be assisted with birth, they do not need to have a midwife or an epidural or have complications and end up in the hospital. Do some creatures have complications with birth? Yes, they do. But we have the most. It is extremely difficult for us to give birth. And since we're on the subject of giving birth, isn't it funny like how a deer will be born and up and walking within moments? A baby goat will be born and up walking around in 30 minutes. Pretty much every species that's four-legged is up and walking in no time. Very few creatures are not. But even if they're not, they're still able to nose their way around to nurse. Like a kitten or a puppy, they're not up running around and doing stuff within minutes, but they're rooting, trying to find a place to nurse. Human beings not only take about a year to start walking after birth, but they're also incapable of doing that. And isn't it also funny how human beings give birth better in water in lower gravity conditions? Isn't that interesting? How you're more weightless in water and women have very good, successful water births? Isn't that interesting? Moving on. We are drastically affected by the sun's UV rays. We get sunburnt like crazy. It hurts our eyes. Other creatures and species on this planet have adapted to this. Like a deer doesn't get sunburnt. A lizard doesn't get a sunburn, right? A squirrel doesn't. Like, no, we're the only ones who suffer drastic effects from the sun. And so you have to ask yourself, why, if we originated here, why would that be a thing? And then we go into this idea of we don't have one sustainable food source on this planet for all our nutritional needs. We have to outsource proteins from here, calciums from there, everything. As to where one creature can forage in its generalized area and get all the nutrition that it needs for the rest of its life. And speaking of terms of life, there's very few creatures on this planet. I mean, there are some, okay, that have a longer lifespan than humans. Think about that. Most creatures on the planet live about a quarter of a human's lifespan. Most creatures, if not way, way, way less. And then there's the last thing. The last thing is we as human beings need artificial means of shelter and clothing for survival with these weather conditions on this planet. Every other creature changes yearly for this. A bear will go into a hibernation. A horse will grow a winter coat. We're the only ones who need artificial shelters. We're the only ones that can't survive the elements, but we originated here. Now, as we're talking about all these things, you're going through your mind and you're being like, yeah, well, Dooms, well, what about this one thing? And what about this one thing? And what about, how do you explain this over here? I'm going to tell you how silly you are. I just gave you 10-ish examples that suggest human beings aren't from this planet. Now, as you're trying to debunk this in your mind with an animal over here or this over here, this is why it's silly. These are 10 individual faults that our species has on this planet. So as you're over here picking this apart, being like, well, yeah, but the hairless cat gets sunburnt. How do you explain that one, Dooms? Yeah, but the hairless cat also has one sustainable food source. Also doesn't age like we do. Also has padded feet. It's almost like it originated here, right? Right? So how silly do you feel now when I just combined all these things and you're trying to debunk them individually, but yet you're trying to debunk 10 things when it's all about one thing? Isn't that wild? And when people propose this argument, like, oh, well, you could get a lot of what you need out of an onion. That's cool. Well, explain the why we don't have padded feet. Oh, because we have shoes. We didn't originate with shoes. Adaptation takes forever. Yeah, well, there's other creatures that have back problems, not like we do. Well, some creatures do need assistance with birth, not like we do. But when you look at the situation as a whole, you're talking individual needs on individual species basis. These are all our problems that we're having. All these are wrapped into one species on this planet, and it's the planet working against us. How do you explain that? You can't explain that away. And maybe the reason why they've never told us about the alien life forms or the extraterrestrials or the visitors that we have coming here is because they look just like us. Because we are the extraterrestrials here. Let that sink in. We'll be back here tomorrow for another exciting episode of the Doom Daily Show. Producer Scooter, if you would, hit that button, sir.
News, facts, and opinions. This is the Doom Daily Show.